Hello everybody and welcome back to Stop the DT Monopoly. Well, the video's been a long time coming. I've been putting thoughts together over the past couple of weeks on what I would say to you folks in this last video that I planned on doing. I was hoping to get it out sooner, but other things were a bit more important at the time, and I'm still running short on time, so this is not going to be my best work and you're not going to see me at my best, but at this point time is of the essence and I just don't care. So I'm sure this is going to be the end of some of you folks subscribing to the channel. I'm good with that. I'm pretty much done with the channel myself. We have a Achilles heel with DTE on the estimated billing, and seems like I am the only one participating in that. I've done more than enough on helping put out tutorial videos on how to set up trail cams and catch these non-meter readers not doing their job by not showing up, and nobody else is on board. This is a complete win if we all work collectively like we did on the smart meters broadcasting. But apparently you folks are not that concerned with fighting the DTE, fighting the smart meters with DTE anymore. So that's that. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not purchasing 100 cameras and maintaining them and everything else. I have my own life to live, and sure you folks do too, but priorities have changed. Where we are at now is we're at the 5G battle, 5G debate. And this is going to get me into my notes on what I was going to say about this whole thing. So depending on how we vote this November, 2 days from now, is going to determine if the smart meter and 5G debate continues or if it's over. So while everybody was busy buying into and voting for saving the planet, going green, and worried about social justice for the micro minority amount of people that can't figure out which bathroom to use, the government around the world, not just here, they were in their final stages of fencing us into a cage. On one hand, you have the same old status quo Joe, who helped get us to this point of digital slavery. 47 years. VP the last 8. Why didn't he tell Obama how to fix things back then? That's been a big question. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say you've been in a job for 47 years and haven't produced anything. You're not going to do it in 4 more or 8 more. I'm sorry. Your record of failure is far too large. No. He's a liability at that point. Then on the other hand, you have wild card, Donald John Trump. He has had things interesting. He's definitely brought some fun to politics, I guess I could say. He's shaking up Joe and his buddies in the swamp on both sides, Democrat and Republican. And of course, the propaganda arm, our mainstream media. And can't forget about Hollywood. Boy, they sure come out to speak bad about one guy. It's funny how all of them, all at the same time, coordinated to go against the one guy that they can't control. Something you should think about. What's Trump's simple message? American greatness, American first, America first. What happens? Everybody's head just explodes. We know there's corruption, folks. We know the corruption's been running for a long time. We know we need term limits. How is all this Donald Trump's fault? He hasn't been in office for 50 years. He hasn't been in there as long as Cocaine Mitch McConnell. He hasn't been in there as long, as long as Nancy the the drunken pill popper Pelosi. He hasn't been in there as long as Maxine Waterhead Waters, or whatever her name is. Doesn't even live in her district. She lives in a mansion up the road. Doesn't even live in the district that she rules over. But preaches about taking the fight to these people. And, pushing back on them and all this other rhetoric that inflicts violence. Something to think about. Meanwhile, if you did any digging on her, you would see lots of weird places she gets her money, along with Pelosi and her son, who's also in a Ukrainian energy company. He was on the board over there as well, with Romney's kid. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Anybody else? You are not going to fight the machine without a collective effort, folks. We have been sold out. We were sold out a long time ago. The first heads up was when JFK got shot. JFK was an outsider. He wanted to do right. He was a Democrat. He was a good Democrat. He got shot when he decided he was going to go against the powers that be. Ronald Reagan was an outsider. He was a good Republican. He was going to go against the powers that be. They shot him. He cooled his heels after that. That bullet scared Reagan. Now we have a third outsider sitting in that same office. He's going against the powers that be, where it appears he's winning. Because all assets are deployed against this guy. The mainstream media, Hollywood, Big Pharma, Big Tech. Which brings me to this next point here. I'm going to just go ahead and change the background. Big Tech. What have we seen with Big Tech lately, folks? We've seen Congress publicly condemn conspiracy theorists. Well, folks, that runs into our wheelhouse too. We were labeled tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists as well. Us fighting the smart meters and microwave radiation. How many people scoffed at us about us being conspiracy theorists or wearing a tinfoil hat and all that other shenanigans and other things that we probably shouldn't say on this somewhat family-friendly channel here. Yeah. Big Tech censoring the crap out of a whole lot of people. Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, or whatever her name is. Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Kayleigh, I guess they call her. They censored her on Twitter. They've censored the President of the United States on Twitter. When they said something about the New York Post. I believe it was Alexander Hamilton that founded that paper. Mainstream media calls it a tabloid. I'd have to say it's actually more accurate than the mainstream media. It's funny how they project everything they are onto someone else that has an opposing view. I believe the tabloids are our mainstream media. Now, I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole here, but in the 90s, I was waking up to a lot of this. I pretty much stopped watching any news outlets during the mid 90s. After I discovered the internet, got my own computer, I rarely turned on a TV. I have multiple TVs here at the house. I like watching TV. I don't watch the news because it's all lies. I've done all my digging for information on the internet. And I don't just go to one source. I go to multiple. I like to look at the differences in all the stories. And out of all the differences, you find the common denominators. And that's usually about what the truth is. Social media is a public square. Whether they want to admit it or not, it's almost a utility anymore. They don't get to deem who has freedom of speech. They like to play this on both sides and say, freedom is... the Constitution was written at a time when they didn't know, about cell phones or telephones or internet. So your freedom of speech doesn't get covered on the internet. But then they'll say they didn't know about it. You get into the Second Amendment and they didn't know about, machine guns, rail guns, stun guns, all this other type of stuff where they try to hinder what type of firearm you own. You don't get to play it both ways. Either the rights are full or they're not. And you can't say you get full rights on this, but no rights on that. It's not how the Constitution was written. The Constitution has been under attack for decades, before I was even born. So, I think everybody knows that. It's very disheartening to see what's going on today. The division in the country. And the hatred for the country that has blessed people with lives they could have never lived anywhere else. I know quite a few people that their families immigrated here. And if they actually lived in the old country, they see what's going on and they don't like it. And they're not voting for a Democrat. They've seen this. They call it for what it is. Socialism. They had that. They don't want it. Socialism is communism's little brother. The only difference between socialism and communism is under socialism, you get to elect your masters. I don't have a master. If there's any master for me, he's up there. And I'm good with that. Anybody else? No. No, not at all. Then we look at folks that their parents immigrated here, but they didn't. And they grew up going through our educational system. Note, the same one that I went through. I didn't get private schooled. I got all that indoctrination through public school. It got worse after my graduating class. The next generation after us, those kids are screwed. They are so mind warped, it is unbelievable. It's a shame. On the upside, some of them are waking up. But that's enough of the rabbit hole. Those folks want to vote for socialism, even though their parents that lived it tell them that's not the way. Turn off the media. Turn off the mainstream media. It's only poison. They can't even give you a weather report correctly. That's a 6-figure job, and they ain't even right half the time. It's disgusting. But people keep going back to it. I don't know why. But the big tech censorship has decided that they wanted to throw a lot of people off YouTube. It would almost be a badge of honor to get myself thrown off YouTube just for this video. I'd be good with that because I'm done with it, like I said, because I can't fight the fight alone. So I'm going to go ahead and roll one more clip for you folks and choose wisely on November 3rd. And if you already voted early because you were freaked out about the sweet and sour sniffles, Wu flu, or whatever else they hyped this up to be, that it's amazing how the flu went. Flu hasn't killed anybody this year. Nobody died of heart attacks this year. Nobody died of cancer this year. The death count for this year is actually lower than this time in 2019 and 2018. A guy was killed in a motorcycle crash in Florida. It was COVID. Right. So I'm going to throw a couple of videos at you folks here. And if you've already voted in Michigan, you can change your vote. And worst case, if there's not enough time, which I do believe it's short now, you go in person and you vote the right way. And that will cancel out the vote you did under duress. Enjoy these videos. Well, you probably shouldn't enjoy them, but pay close attention. You're not voting for somebody running for president with Joe Biden. You're voting for somebody that's running from prison and the gallows. Because that's where that guy belongs. I'm not saying Trump is a saint, but there is a very, very distinct difference in keeping your country, or having your country turn into China 2.0. I don't know about you, but I kind of like freedom and shit. I'm Rob from Stop the DT Monopoly. I'm out. Watch these clips.
盗国贼们有了2个让美国人必须走入极度失败的计划。第一个计划就是刚才说的BG1，第二个计划就是 KI， 搞弱美国，搞乱美国，搞死美国。我今天会以我的生命向美国人保证，盗国贼在美国这个计划现在进行的非常之成功，非常之快速。 而且对美国人民和美国人民的资产和生命一定会造成巨大的危害。这个危害一定不是一次911就所能代表的，可能是100倍、1000倍911。黑夜即将到来，一定要做好准备。黑夜来自到中国到我这个黑夜即将弥漫的世界，每个人都将关注，大家做好准备。
Hey folks, sorry to interrupt you guys watching these clips. I decided to add a couple more in while I was going through files. Sorry if it's running a little bit longer than you had expected, but I felt it was important to throw in there. So enjoy those. I'm also going to send you off with a message from a podcaster I like to watch Monday through Friday, Brendan Dilley. Hope you all are doing well. God bless you folks. God bless America. And see you on the other side, maybe. But I am hoping something happens that makes me have to bring this channel active again. And let us just nail all this down and make everything right, not only in our country, but around the world. There can be great things in this world if we can get the evil out of it, or at least get it hampered enough that we can keep that under control. That's the fight, folks. That is the fight. God bless you all.
Democratic presidential candidate Joseph Biden today faces a controversy. 3 weeks ago at a debate at the Iowa State Fair, he used phrases identical to those delivered by British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock.
Biden seemed to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get the university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania don't come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
The notion that every thought or notion or idea you'd have to go back and find and attribute to someone, I think is, quite frankly, ludicrous.
The problem here is that Senator Biden told his audience he'd just been thinking about these things, and he failed to give any credit at all to his famous British speechwriter.
You know, I was thinking on the way over here. Now, that's a little too much, because, as you point out, what's behind the words? What's there? And a lot of people, the rap on Biden has always been that it's just a surface.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
But CBS News found a tape of a second instance.
It reappeared in the New York Times with a new charge, that Biden had appropriated a famous litany from the late Robert Kennedy about what the gross national product cannot measure.
It cannot measure the health of our children,
The health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play.
or the joy of their play.
Biden gave Kennedy no credit. He has also quoted or paraphrased John Kennedy, Hubert Humphrey, and British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock, all without credit.
Joseph Biden admitted today that he committed plagiarism when he was in law school. He said it was a mistake, but that it was unintentional.
He quoted 5 pages of someone else's work without proper citation.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
He was given an F.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
To the political community in Washington, it all seems of a piece. Plagiarism at law school, plagiarism on the stump.
The great communicator. Strike that. The great imitator.
And there you have it, folks. Joe Biden been lying. The great imitator. That's all he is. The Build Back Better motto they've been using, look it up. It's being used worldwide right now. Joe hasn't had an original thought his whole career. He's plagiarized everything, stolen everything he could, used the Ukraine as a money laundering system, along with his son. I actually think I might actually feel bad for Hunter Biden. He's been the bagman for this whole thing. And I think he's been abused his whole life, which is probably why he's a crackhead. And what a better person to lay blame on than the son you didn't like. Remember when Joe Biden said Beau Biden was his heart, he didn't even have enough sense to not favor his own children. There's a lot of other things going on in that family. And we can't let that type of corruption get into power. It's been into power. We see it's got us where we're at today. China's unleashing bioweapons across the planet. It's all over greed. All these old players need to go. So, with that, Trump 2020, God bless you all. And heads up, for anybody that's got kids in the room, this is going to be a part of the video that is not family friendly. Go ahead and put the earmuffs on the kids. Dilly doesn't say it politically correct or cleanly, but he says what needs to be said. So I'm just going to let him wrap it up for me here.
I tweeted this out earlier, and I stand by every word of it. There's only two people that vote for Democrats at this juncture in American history. Number one, you fucking hate America. You hate America, and you overtly know what you're voting for. Number two, you're fucking stupid beyond all reason. That's it. That's all that's left in the Democrat Party. You're either explicitly dumb as shit, or you hate America. Democrat Party no longer is a party that represents American values or American freedoms, American virtue. And if you support it, you're really at this point, good luck. Good luck. But there is no way. This is the United States of America. We're not giving up our sovereignty to anybody. Fuck that. We came too close. Now we're going back the other direction. We're not going to get calmer as years go by. We're going to get more fired up. We're going to want more. I want more. This culture war, you fucking idiots, is not something about just, the next re-election. We want it all back. We want our schools back. We want our education. We want our higher education back. We want our banking back. We want our celebrity fucking entertainment industries back. We want our music back. We want our sports back. We're fighting for all of it. I won't stop until we have every fucking aspect of Americanism back and actually representing America. We're raising an entire generation of patriots right behind us who have the exact same attitude and thoughts and approach. We're raising children. You're aborting them, we're raising them. We're raising them to vote. We're raising them to recognize bullshit. We're training them to not trust the government or the media. We're training them in weapons. We're training them in free speech. There's not a fucking thing the left can do about it. We're not going away. This is only the beginning. Globalism was a failed idea. That was the George Bush era Republican, rhino, sellout, scumbag, globalist approach to things. This is a new America. This is a new America that resembles the old America, except for with a lot more wisdom. And you're just going to have to get used to it, lefties. We're not going anywhere.